Hi folks, good evening to you on this beautiful Thursday evening. What a night, absolutely stunning. I had a little bit of rain earlier on. I think there's rain due tomorrow morning, and I just thought I'd get a live in today. Often I have these reflections that go on in my mind, and I just thought I'd want to share a few things with you about time. So something I've overheard a couple of people saying, and I've seen some posts on it and people having grumbles in the social media space, but also just general overhearing of conversations. If I'm out maybe at a supermarket, standing in a line, whatever, there's all sorts of conversations that happen when people are in queuing up for something. And that's about wasted time. And it's been very interesting because people are saying, oh my gosh, this is crazy. We're in a downtime period at the moment. I feel like there's all this time being wasted. I'm not getting stuff done. I feel unproductive. Being locked in like this is frustrating me. It's pissing me off, whatever. So these are kind of conversations I've overheard from different people. And, I'm not getting my work done, or I'm not getting this done, etc. And it made me think, actually, about statistics. And I thought I'd share with you a personal story as well, an inspirational story from somebody that I know this week that has done something really powerful with his time. So I wrote down some numbers here on the back of what I think is a National Trust letter to us. National Trust cards, I think, in there. Anyway, that's by the way. And I wanted to talk to you about how much time people spend wasting time or doing things that are non-productive on a general day-to-day basis. So let me try and put this in context. And if you're watching this, you might smile. Now, I remember reading an article in the Times about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I quote this sometimes when I'm running my seminars, and it said that the average person spends approximately an hour getting to work and an hour getting back from work. Now, if you think about it, when you wake up in the morning and the alarm goes off, in a normal situation, obviously not now, but in a normal situation, you get up, you do your ablutions, brush your teeth, etc., have something to eat, and off you go. The minute you leave the house, this is my own personal belief, and remember, my beliefs don't have to be your beliefs, just my personal beliefs. The minute you leave the house, you're at work, as far as I'm concerned. You've left home, and you're now engaged in the activity of going to work for somebody else, and then come back. Obviously, you might run a business, you go into your offices, but typically for the average person, they're going to work for somebody else. Now, what the Times said from memory was it's about an hour to work and an hour back for the average person. That said, I live here in Sussex. I think we're in West Sussex, or on the border between West and East Sussex. So nearest station is about 10-15 minutes from where I live, and then it's an hour into London on the train. So there's a lot of people that commute just from here. Now they hit London. It's an hour and 10 minutes. Just seeing who that is. Hi, Nikki. Good to see you. So somebody travels an hour and 10 and an hour and 15 minutes. They get into London. They might spend another 20 minutes getting across. Could be an hour and a half. If you do that every day, that's 3 hours. But let's say the average is 2 hours. So I've got some numbers for you, because this whole thing about complaining about COVID and my time's not being used effectively, quite honestly, I think that's bullshit. And I want to share with you my thoughts on this. So 10 hours a week on average from somebody traveling to and from work. Let's say lockdown is, so that's 10 hours a week. Let's say lockdown is going to be for the next 3 months. Now, it could be 2 months, it could be 4 months. I think we're certainly looking at least 8 weeks. That's my personal view, before even things start to remotely get close to being normal. My personal feeling is it's going to be longer, 3 months. That's 120 hours. So make a note of this, 120 hours. For the average person working, they're working 48 weeks a year. 48 weeks per year. Times 10 hours a week, that's 480 hours. 480 hours. Now, if you take a working day as being an 8-hour day, let's just break that down for a minute. So here's my breakdown on here. 120 hours during COVID divided by 8 gives me 15 working days, physical working days of time that you would normally have just from traveling. This is travel time alone. Think about it, just travel time. So travel time to and from over a COVID period of 3 months, 120 hours. That's equivalent to 15 working days if you took an 8-hour working day. If you want to look at the average person for a year, this is where it gets scary, 480 hours. So leaving, going to and from work. Hi Dom, good to see you back. My good friend Dom Lomo, if you've not seen him, Joanna, sorry I should say, has just come back from a cruise around the world and he's just got back in. I'm really glad to see you here safe and sound, brother. 480 hours per freaking year people are spending going to and from work. 480 hours. Divide that by an 8-hour working day. That is 60 working days. 60 working days people spend actually just traveling. And in all the years I've been teaching wealth and financial independence to people through property investing and other vehicles, people often say to me, yeah, but you don't understand, Doctor, I'm busy. And I'm like, okay, what are you busy doing? And I'm busy, I've got my job. I've got to get to work, got to get back, got to work at work, 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours. And then I get back, I'm knackered, spend a bit of time with my kids. And here we are in the middle of fucking COVID. And I'm hearing people saying, oh, I feel like my time's being wasted. I'm thinking, wasted? You are spending, on average, at least 480 hours a year wasting your time traveling to and from a workplace for somebody else. Now, I know I might be pressing a few buttons for people, but just think about it just for a minute. Just think about this. And by the way, if you've got somebody else that's whinging about their time, you might want to pass this live on to other people. Because when I'm teaching people how to become financially independent on the property seminars, one of the first things I say is, let's eke out some extra time. Who's that? It's Dom. Good to see you again, Dom. So I say to people, eke out your time from other areas of your life. Now, another one I've got down here is TV. We'll come to TV in just a minute. I just did this before I came out while the kids are inside and my other half, she's preparing dinner for the kids. So if you haven't got the numbers on this, let me just break this down. COVID, let's say, is 3 months. You would have spent 120 hours approximately in a week going backwards and forwards over those 3 months traveling. That's 15 working days. What can you do with 15 working days of your time? This is time you've saved. So imagine if you got up on a daily basis and said, right, I'm going to spend the first hour of my day learning a subject, studying a subject, studying the stock market, studying property investing, studying how to speak and look out for this because it's something I might be doing very shortly actually. Studying a language, playing the guitar, whatever it is. Just imagine that, 120 hours. I'm telling you, 120 hours, you're going to become freaking good at something. If COVID lasts longer, you're going to have more time. When you go back to work, you will have lost over the next year. Let's say we go back to work in September 2020 to September 2021. You will have wasted 480 hours traveling for somebody else. And then you'll be thinking, oh my gosh, I wish I had that time back at home now. We can't be living with regret over these coming months. We have to start to use this time in a constructive way. So for me at the moment, a couple of things that are happening. One of the things I'm doing is I've got my daughter starting to teach me the piano, which is cool. And the other one is I'm going back in and I'm looking at the stock market, well, actually the currency markets. I used to teach trading, so I'm going back in, I'm starting to reactivate that passion again and picking that up. So that's where I'm using some of my time, as well as finishing off one of my books and creating some more products and using that time in an effective way. What are you going to do with your time? That's my challenge to all of you watching at the moment. And for someone like Dom, who's just come back off his cruise, I'm sure he's bloody itching to get in and do some stuff. Now, wait for a minute. TV. Now, I've done a study on this for probably a decade or more now. And one of the questions I ask my audience is how much time do you think you spend on an average week watching TV? And it varies from, we've got no TV at all. And then I say, okay, no TV. Right, great. What about social media? And people go, yeah, okay. So surfing on Facebook, going in and out and checking on Facebook and Instagram and all these things, maybe watching a bit of YouTube, whatever it is. But just taking TV alone, it's anywhere from like typically about 10-12 hours a day right up to about 20 to 30 hours 10-12 hours a week to 20 to 30 hours a week. But I've taken an average here. For the average person, I've said 2 hours per day, which is what people tell me by the time they've got home from work, they've switched it on, they've kind of vegged out a little bit, maybe a bit of social media time as well, you know, mindless stuff, just surfing through, having a quick look through there, plus your TV, easily 2 hours a day. And actually now your phones will monitor this, by the way, for you. 2 hours a day, 7 days a week. And actually, by the way, on the weekends, people actually spend more time watching TV. These days, it's Netflix, it's Prime, and it's social media. Very little actually physical TV time, but we can approximate that. That's 14 hours a week on average, but I think some of you might be more, some of you might be less. Over 52 weeks, I've worked out is 728 hours. Holy, 728 hours over a year watching TV. Now, we don't have terrestrial TV, and the kids haven't grown up with it, so that's not a culture we have in our household. We do have a screen, and the screen is basically used primarily for movies and for some of the educational stuff. But we don't have it linked in so the kids can just go, mindlessly watch something on TV. That's just a philosophy we introduced even before our kids were born. So, there's a thought for you. Okay, let's do some maths on this. So if you take 728 and divide that by, I've worked out, that's a year, right? So over the COVID period, you might want to do this yourself. Excuse me, I've just been clearing up my house and dusting. We've got a house full of building dust, and some of you have been following the story. So we've been moving a load of stuff, and there's builder's dust everywhere, and it's literally, I can feel it in my clothes, but I wanted to do this before the sun went down. AJ, good to see you, AJ. Okay, great. Thanks, man. There's a message there. Just say thanks for the hand-holding during that certain period. That's what we're here to serve. Right, let me just try and simplify this for everybody listening, right? So during COVID, which I'm saying is 3 months, I've worked out that's 168 hours. Make a note of this. So I'm saying maybe during this period, you could save yourself TV time of 168 hours. In other words, over a 3-month period, 2 hours a day, you do the maths on it. I think I can't get to my phone because it's here, I'm talking to you, 168 hours. If you're not traveling to work during the next 3 months while we're in lockdown, for the sake of argument, you're not going to work, you're going to save yourself approximately 120 hours worth of travel time. I believe, and you can do the calculation on this, if you're, TV, if you said, right, I'm not going to watch TV for 2 hours a night during the period of COVID, it's 168 hours you're going to save. That is in total 168 plus 120, 288. Now, I know somebody might correct me if my maths is slightly off, but please understand I'm trying to do this on the back of not a fag package, but a National Trust envelope, and it's 288 hours. Okay, what can you do with 288 hours? What could you study? What could you go do from a charitable perspective if you want to do that? But imagine if you use that time. What if you just said, right, for the next 2 months, 3 months, although I'm not going to work, I'm going to take that hour of travel time. I'm going to take those 2 hours of TV time. Granted, I know during the course of the day, there's other time you've got. Maybe with your kids, maybe you've got to do some work. Maybe you will watch a bit of TV during the course of the day, whatever. But the whole point is, imagine that you were on a working week. Imagine that you were traveling to work, and imagine that you were coming home and going, I'm knackered because I've been at work all frigging day. Take that time. I think it's approximately 3 hours a day. Do something valuable with it. Study something. 3 hours of studying the stock market, trading, studying property, doing research, playing the guitar, playing the piano, learning a language, going out and doing exercise, whatever it is that you haven't been doing because you've used that as an excuse in the past time. My goodness me. Just imagine how you're going to feel in 3 months' time when you go back to work and you're thinking, oh my God, I'm so passionate about this subject now, I want to continue doing it. I can't do it now because I'm at work. What if you studied a new opportunity for creating money? You might want to follow my good friend Harminder that's been doing some stuff online just recently on helping people with online business. If you haven't been following our Growth Tribes podcasts, come and follow the Growth Tribes podcast, because we, once a week, it's about an hour and a half a week. There's an hour and a half out of your week. Come and follow us on the Growth Tribes. We've got some great stuff coming up. We've been doing some stuff on real estate, on property, so come and follow that. Next week, we have one that's coming out on wills and legacy planning and planning your life in terms of what if something happens to you? Have you got your assets in place? Think about asset protection and wills and that type of thing. Got a fantastic interview to share with you. Got a guy who's a nutritional specialist coming on board with us as well, so he's going to do one. So we're really trying to pack in as much as we can over the next few months, because I know a lot of you want to learn this stuff. Why not do it with us? It's free. Spend an hour and a half to 2 hours with us once a week on the Growth Tribes. Go to www.growthtribes.com. Great place to go and learn there. In fact, if you come and join us in the tribe, I know some of you are watching that you're already in the tribe. We've got a vault with probably 50 or 60 hours worth of content in there. And it's all part of, and it's everything from time management, money management. Oh, by the way, time management. I have a free course. Normally we charge for it, but we're making it available for free at the moment during COVID. If you don't know how to get that, Go and have a look online on my Facebook page. If it's not there, I'll get the team to put it on a link here. It's about 2 to 3 hours of time management, life management, project management. It's how to make things more effective. Please go and do it. So what's my point? My point is this: the average person on a weekly, daily, monthly, yearly basis, honestly, they waste a shitload of time doing unproductive, non-productive things. And the challenge I get is when I'm teaching, this is an excuse I get. I'm in front of an audience for 3 days teaching them on property investing. Who's that? Hey, oh, Nikki, love you too, miss you. So, and she knows this because she used to sit in on some of these events. And people go, oh, you don't understand, Dr. O, you don't understand. I want to do this, but my wife and I, we're too frigging busy. And now all of us, and I say to people, that's bullshit. Honestly, give me a break. You waste a lot of time in a week. And yeah, you don't understand. And I'm like, I do understand. And you waste a lot of time in a week. And now people are sitting twiddling their thumbs going, what do I do? You know, it's fucking COVID. And I've watched I've watched everything on Netflix. I've watched everything on Prime, which by the way is not very productive unless you watch the documentaries on health. In which case, go and watch the documentaries on Netflix about health and learn about how to become more vital and more energized and look great, you know, when whatever age you get to. Maybe you want to get to 60, I'm 54, 55. I want to try and look the same way in another 6 years when I hit 60. That's what I'm excited about. So it's about keeping that energy and that enthusiasm. And then I want to ask you a question. So we just offered up some time to do deliveries to one of our local organic farms, which is literally a minute from here, less than that. And we said to them, look, we know you're delivering to elderly people. We've got the time freedom to do that. Let us help. And the lady was like, oh, amazing, thank you. We'll keep you posted over the next week. But I spoke to a really dear friend of mine, and I'm not going to say who it is because I think just respectfully, I don't want to say who he is, but he's a very successful property investor. And who's that? Tess. Thanks, Tess. Very good. Looking good, she said. Look, there you go. Look. How do I look at 54, 55 next year? So I was speaking to him this week, and this guy is a multi-millionaire. He's got an amazing property portfolio. He's been a mentor for the last nearly 20 years. He's a couple of years younger than me, 52 years of age. And he's been investing probably 10 years longer than I have. Amazing gentleman. Got a huge respect for him. He and I used to trade together, and this is one of the conversations we've been having recently. And he learned lots of different things over the last couple of years. He's done everything from learning hypnosis right through to plumbing and fitting boilers. He's a fully qualified boiler fitter. This is a guy who is a 52-year-old multi-millionaire property investor. He's got properties right down into central London up into the north of England, and has helped countless people become incredibly successful. And one of the people I go to when I just want to lean on somebody who I trust that can help me and give me a bit of independent guidance and advice. So he's one of my personal mentors. And I was talking to him, and he said to me, I put myself forward and volunteered my time about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, to help out for vulnerable people. Not knowing how much take-up there was going to be. He's been absolutely busy. He was telling me all weekend, 4 or 5 call-outs. He was with a 70-something-year-old lady this last 4 or 5 days. And he went in, I think it was on Sunday. She'd got a boiler who a normal heating engineer had gone out to. And bear in mind, this lady had no heating for 3 fucking weeks. 3 weeks, folks. 3 weeks. She's 70-something years of age. She got no hot water, no heating, nothing. A boiler engineer went out to her 3 weeks ago and said, oh, I'm sorry, but your boiler's kaput. It's going to cost you $3,000 to replace it. Do you want to pay $3,000? And she said, I don't have $3,000. And this is, by the way, this for me is one of the things that touches my heart as well, because when I teach people who are 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 years of age, whatever, that sort of it. And they say to me, oh, you know what? Yeah, we know property's good and we know we should get into a wealth vehicle and work on other things. But quite frankly, to be honest, we're okay at the moment. And the challenge is, right, most people say they're okay and they work most of their life. They get to a point where they're retired. And most of us know this statistically. In this country, it's bullshit. The pensionable system is absolutely screwed. So most pensioners don't have the money available to look after themselves, which is why their houses are run down, their boilers are failing. Anyway, this lady is in trouble, and she does this call out. She's a vulnerable, her husband's passed away, and he goes out to see her, and he sends me this message that evening. He goes, Ro, I feel so good. I have been able to help this lady out, and he's sharing with me because we do these kind of things. And he said, I've helped this lady out, and she was told by this boiler engineer $3,000, £3,000 I can't read this, sorry. Oh, thanks very much. All right, lovely message there. I haven't got my glass with me to read, and these aren't reading glasses. I'm just trying to see who that was, but apologies. So this lady, 3,000 pounds she hasn't got. So he goes in, he pulls her boiler apart, brings these extra components, and somehow manages to get her boiler working and functional. She's absolutely over the moon. And leaves her, does the same thing for somebody else. But bear in mind, this guy doesn't have to work for the rest of his life. I mean, he makes a huge amount of money on an annual basis. And here he is giving up his time. He said, you know, I'm trying to do something during this downtime. Although we've got a lockdown, I can go out and help other people. It gets me out and it gets me socializing with people, obviously social distancing, but giving her the chance to, her along with other people. And what I find inspiring is that he sends me this other WhatsApp message yesterday to say, I was driving and I realised I've worked out a couple of things we can do to get a boiler working, maybe finding a way to be able to get her to get a new boiler. There might be an opportunity here. There's some opportunities coming up where the government is supporting vulnerable tenants, or in this case, vulnerable house owners, elderly people. And his brain is working overtime. And I guess my point is this: don't go to sleep during this period. Use this as an opportunity to become inspired, and more importantly, to be inspiring to other people. Please don't atrophy, meaning don't let your brain waste, don't let your body waste. I've taken my daughter out cycling every day over this last 3 or 4 days. We've been out walking for an hour today. My kids, I've got to share this with you, right? I've got to show you this, right? My youngest daughter, who's 5, has suddenly become fanatical about finding bones. She's become a bone collector. So just bear with me for 1 second. I'm just going to show you something over here in the bushes. We picked these up today, but I took them out, and she's found these over 3 days in a row. Just wait there for a second. Look at this. So my youngest daughter, Liv, has become a bone collector. So she's out, and we went out for an hour today. Believe it or not, we found another skeleton, and I think actually somebody else might be able to help me out with this. If anyone knows anything, we think it's a sheep. We're not sure, but we've got a feeling it's a sheep. She wants to get my old toothbrush and brush these down, and we've got other ones over there. So we're just using this time to do creative things with the kids and let their imagination go wild and have fun. And for the parents watching this, it's a brilliant thing you can do as well. Don't hold them back too much. Give them a chance to go free rein, because I think the schools suppress our kids a lot. You know, they contain them, and they're like this explosive energy when they come out of school. So it's a chance for them to let off steam. That's a conversation for another day. Anyway, listen, thank you all for listening, and thanks for the lovely messages you're sending in. Just keep telling me if there's any subjects you want me to talk about. I'm actually looking to do something where I start to read some extracts from my Turning Point book. I can see Nikki online, she came through that a few years back, and I think a few others have as well. But I'd quite like to go back over some of that and maybe read it out and talk about that in an open space, because I haven't run an event for a while, and the book was very popular when it came out on Amazon. So I thought I'd share that with you. Anyway, I've got to love you and leave you. Got to go back and see the kids, put the skull back in place, and I shall speak to you all again soon. Take care. Thank you for watching.